Hi everyone, Fraser here from the Most Dangerous Podcast. If you've been enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps us to reach more people like you who love the show. Also, you can follow us on Instagram at The Most Dangerous Pod and join the conversation on Facebook at The Most Dangerous Podcast. For those of you who want to go the extra mile, we're on Buy Me a Coffee. So if you'd like to support the show with a small donation, it would mean the world to us. And if you have any suggestions or feedback and want to get in touch, you can email us at jamesandfraserpod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hello, Fraser here from the Most Dangerous Podcast. Would you believe that today, the 8th of October, it is 1 year to the day that we released our very first episode, Mountains. It was a bit of a car crash. We had no idea what we were doing, banging and crashing in the background and stuff like that, but God, we had a laugh. And we've not looked back since. We've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of support of the podcast community and, of course, our wonderful listeners. That by this time, we actually do now have some regular listeners. So what I've decided to do today, we haven't really planned a big birthday celebration. So I've put together sort of half an hour of some of my favourite clips of all the episodes over the last year. So if you particularly like listening to our podcasts for the in-depth stories and stuff like that, then skip this one. And on Sunday night, we will have the first episode of Nature, presented by me, so you may want to skip that one as well. But I can promise you it's going to be quite a good one this week. I've got a good subject. But if you want to listen back, if you're a fairly new listener, you want to hear some of the wee clips from the last year, then listen on. Here we go. So enjoy. We'll be back Sunday night, 8 p.m, with first of the 4-part mini-series on nature. As you well know, if you're a regular listener now, we drew that out of the hat. So we'll be back then, and here are some clips.
Hello and welcome to the Most Dangerous Podcast. I'm James. Hello, Fraser. How are you?
Hello, I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, I've had I panicked then because I realised that I've actually done fuck all since we last spoke. I've got nothing to tell you.
No, I know, but it's only been a couple of days though.
Yeah.
So we last spoke on Friday. It's now Wednesday. So
I know.
There's not really much that's happened in my life either, apart from we had the bank holidays, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean we've had Easter weekend, so I've done Easter stuff with the kids.
Yeah, I didn't. I just slept.
Haven't done it. The listeners want to hear.
Not the kids. I was at the kid.
There was a story that I read of an older man, a man in his 60s, that they tested 2 different toxic gases on him, and he survived. They injected him with the plague, and he got ill, and he got better. They injected him with air in his veins, and he survived it.
Jesus.
So they got a much bigger needle and injected more air into his veins, and he survived it. So they hung him from a tree.
Oh man, you'd give him a badge and let him on his way, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You survived. You survived. What was it called again? Area
Unit 731.
Unit 7. Yeah, give him a T-shirt. Well done, mate.
Apparently, suspected pranksters are believed to have targeted the 1.7 meter long reptile. I'm 1.72 meters. That's the same as my height.
Right, so it's not like a small thing then.
No, it's big alligator.
A proper one.
Yeah. Apparently, they snatched him from an outdoor enclosure adjacent to his holiday home. This is in Brunswick, Georgia, in America.
What was the prank?
The prank was stealing it.
It's not a prank, is it?
That's just theft. It's just theft. Another story that I'll bring into this story is obviously there's a chap called Green Boots Guy.
I
It
think I've heard
is.
about this guy.
Yeah, so Green Boots died. He died, they think, in the Everest disaster in 1996, and he was discovered in 2001, where a bit of snow
Hang
had
on,
obviously.
hang on.
Oh.
What's the Everest disaster?
The Everest disaster. It was the storm on Everest. They made a movie about it. Have you seen the movie Everest?
What's his face in it? Sylvester Stallone.
No, I don't think so.
He was in one with a fucking big hill there, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, what was that called? I'll have to look it up.
He was in Demolition Man.
I don't think it was that.
The Everest disaster, where there was a load of climbers. They didn't think a storm was coming. A storm came and blew them off the edge.
To put it like bluntly, there's no storm coming here. Oh
Yeah.
shit, there is. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a bit of a balancing act, but I don't think you can say that on this. Fucking hell, we're talking about women who got fucking radium poisoning. It's a bit different, like, you know.
It is. I'm just saying that I think the problem is in these things, this always happens, that people fight for rights and then they get rights and then they just take it too far. But yeah, I'm all for workers' rights.
Wow, I didn't realise you were such a fascist, man.
I think they take the piss.
Sometimes. Yeah, two people got too many rights. I agree.
They have, but that's not. It is an employer's responsibility to make sure the employees are safe. Absolutely, I'm for that. But I think it's got
what a Tory! What a Tory!
It's got ridiculous.
Right. Well, on that note, I'm going to call it a night. I'm angry at you, Tory boy. I'm getting a bit frustrated with it all, to be honest. I'm a bit, because I think it's a great idea. Let's go and explore the stars and let's go and have a look out there instead of staying on here and killing each other. Why don't we go up there and have a look, see what's going on? But it just seems to take forever. Yeah. Like they've been saying for ages, like we're going to put more people on the moon, and then it's like, oh yeah, well in like 2028, like we can do it now.
I think the thing is, we just haven't got the technology. I mean,
of course we have. Of course we've got the technology.
We've got the technology to go to the moon, but the moon's just a rock. So the next one's Mars. But
yeah, well, they should be up there, like building stuff on the moon, so you can use it as a launch pad to get to Mars. You know, what's taking them so long? They're like throwing billions and billions of pounds into like wars and stuff. Throw it into like space exploration. That's the new frontier.
Yeah.
That's my opinion anyway. I'm going to be ranty this week.
By the time he was a young teenager, he could actually eat a quarter of a bullock. So, a cow.
A quarter. It's hard to put that into context, though, isn't it?
So, basically, he could eat his body weight in a single serving.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Right.
But when you say like a quarter of a cow,
yeah,
I can't really picture like half a cow.
Front quarter, back quarter. I've always wondered that. See, like Nando's, you can get a quarter of a chicken. You think, what bit do you get?
It's like a leg.
Yeah, a leg and an arse. So, right, I want to take you back to 1950s. Okay,
right.
And you won't remember because you weren't alive, but during the 1950s, there was a thing known as the Cold War, where America and Russia were basically trying to see who had the biggest nuclear bombs and see who would blink first.
Yeah, it was a cock measuring contest, basically.
It was, yeah. And do you know, I actually think about, see all the wars and all the sort of stuff that's gone on. I think that time round about 1950s must be one of the most terrifying times, where these two big boys basically had these nuclear bombs, and people in America and people in Russia and probably a lot of people around the world were like, one of these is going to blow one of them up and we're just all going to melt.
Yeah, no, that's
horrific deaths.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was like then up to like the 80s, and then it kind of went away for a bit, and then now. So yeah, I did work in a newsagent, and that's pretty. It messes up your body clock a little bit, that, because sometimes you have to be up at 6 a.m. Sometimes you have to be up late. This was one of these news agents that stays open till 8, 9 o'clock at night. So it was a Saturday. I remember it specifically. And on the Friday night, I'd been out, or I'd been to yours or something. and just got completely tanked. But on the Saturday, I didn't have to be in work till about sort of 4:00 or something, 4 or 5 o'clock. And then I'd do the evening shift.
The night shift.
Yeah. So I thought on the Friday, well, I don't have to be in till late, so it's fine, isn't it? I'll be all right. I woke up on the Saturday with probably one of the worst hangovers I've ever had in my life. Managed somehow to get myself to work for 4 o'clock. Still feeling absolutely awful. When you're working in news agents, I don't think you've ever worked in a shop or anything like that, have you?
No.
One of the perks, it's not a perk really, but you can basically just help yourself to anything. I mean, you pay for it, obviously.
Right, yeah.
But you can just go, it's quite fancy, a can of Coke. Here you go, here's 50p. Well, it used to be 50p. But...
Or a topic or something.
Yeah, it's because there's just loads of stuff everywhere, so you just end up getting dead fat going, oh yeah, nice, I'll have one of them. Yeah, so I got into work and I was absolutely parched because I was hungover. I was like, oh God, I need something to sort me out before I start. I arrived about 15 minutes early. So I got myself a pint of milk for some reason. I don't know why. And then went upstairs and I necked it because I was so thirsty. And I thought, oh no, it's not really hit the spot. So I went back downstairs and I said to the person I was working with, I was like, all right, just before I start, I'm just going to have another drink and then we'll get going. So I got myself a litre of orange juice. So I necked that. And then for some reason I started to feel a little bit ill.
God knows why.
So I started my shift about 10 minutes in, and then somebody had to do the crisps, right? So I went down into the cellar to get the crisps that we needed. These boxes of crisps stacked high, that sort of all the different types, Walkers, and I just got down there and I thought, oh no, this isn't.
Is it that when your mouth starts filling with saliva?
Yeah, I get that funny taste, it's not normal saliva. And I just projectile vomited all over these crisps, everywhere. It was the worst, right? And I just sat there for about 2 minutes. I thought, what am I going to do here now? Because it's in a cellar, a really confined, warm, damp place. It started to stink really bad. So I didn't know what to do. So I went up to the other person that was working. I suppose she was a bit more senior than me, so I kind of went, I've just been sick on all the crisps downstairs. They passed the polygraph test, so that's kind of weird. Just asking them if they've seen a flying saucer. I mean, I know we don't use polygraph tests in this country because they're not deemed to be kind of it's admissible as evidence because they're so what's the word for it?
Shit.
Shit.
So some of the games we played football, Conkers, Knock and Run, Kirby.
Knock and Run's not a game.
Is it not a game? Is that just
a game? If there's someone has to win in a game, don't they? Who wins in Knock and Run?
Yeah,
it's not the poor old lady who has to answer the door, is it?
No,
so I suppose, Knock and Run. I don't think Knock and Run's a game.
So Knock and Run's harassment, pretty much. Really. But some of the more inventive games, you remember Shit on a Stick?
I think I did. No, you'll have to remind me. Go on.
Yeah. Shit on a Stick, where you got a big long stick, stuck it down a drain, got a bit of shit on it, and chased each other around with it. Whilst chanting, shit on a stick, shit on a stick.
Yeah, again, I don't think that's a game. It's not.
No.
It's,
okay, then.
It doesn't sound like much of a game. I kind of half remember it.
There was never a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was always a loser.
Exactly. There's no winner. No one sits around and says, do you fancy a game of shit on the stick?
No, I suppose not. What about Gollies? Gollies was one that came up with ourselves.
I enjoyed that, actually. That was good.
Yeah, Gollies.
I mean,
that poor
that was
old lady.
borderline harassment, but that was a game, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there was two of us, and there was a winner. So.
True, yes. But I wouldn't say any of the games we played were dangerous, although you did shoot my neighbour with my air rifle.
They shouldn't be walking past the fence at the time.
I know. Selfish.
I
of
didn't
him.
see him.
The only game I could think about from our childhood that was dangerous is, do you remember, I'm not going to use his real name, but we had a friend called Heathen Stickman that was...
I don't remember him. Don't know who you're talking about.
No. Do you remember he tried playing chicken and lost?
Yeah, he did lose at chicken. I remember that. He broke his lunchbox, I think.
Yeah.
When he
He
hit
did,
the ground.
yeah. He cried because he cried that his butty box had smashed, and Mr. Gledhill was going to tell him off.
Poor
not
Heathen.
Mr. Gledhill, someone else.
Poor Heathen Stickman.
So that was about the only kind of dangerous game that I can remember from our childhood. Not that we really played that. So
yeah, I don't think I've played that chicken.
Even simple things. I went to my little lockup, and it'd gone dark.
What's your lockup?
My lockup.
What you keep in there?
Screaming souls. Just my shutters. It's a shipping container.
Nothing sinister.
Nothing sinister. No, it's just one naked guy strapped to a chair. Interestingly, James, there were actually rumours that the Soviets had cottoned onto it, and they were considering a similar scheme codenamed E4.
Oh no!
It's like
this
two
is why
kids.
Yeah. It's like, right, we're going to get to the moon. No, you're not, because we're going to blow it up. No, you're not, because we're going to blow it up.
Basically, yeah. But the Soviets actually abandoned their plan because they'd had a couple of rockets that they'd sent to the moon that had failed and fallen back to Earth. And the Soviets thought, right, if we stick a hydrogen bomb in the end of a rocket and it doesn't make it and then starts falling back towards, Moscow, we're in a bit of soapy bubble here. So the Soviets apparently, they abandoned their plans. So yeah, in summary, James, the disappearance of the moon would have far-reaching consequences for Earth's climate, ecosystems, and human civilization.
Did the USA not think about this, though? There must have been scientists sort of running around the Pentagon going, what the fuck are you doing? like, this can't happen.
Ralph Lauren's the biggest fucking blag in history. Plain polo shirts with his little logo on it. That's all Ralph Lauren.
Golf or something.
Yeah. Polo. It's polo. It's getting a horse with a polo stick.
Oh yeah, that's it.
But there's a whole shop full of just fucking polo shirts. Blue, red, white, green, black. Wee guy on it. £140 for a polo shirt. What a blag.
Yeah.
He's not a designer. He's just put his logo on a fucking polo shirt.
I don't know. Don't know enough about him.
Does my head in. May 1939, Navy officer Erwin C. Nesbitt was found dead after ingesting poison in his room. Again, whether it was a suicide remains uncertain.
It's a bit of a common theme, ingesting poison in one of these hotel rooms, isn't it?
Well, funnily enough, in January 1940, Dorothy Seeger, 45-year-old teacher, she registered at the Cecil under an alias of Evelyn Brent. She also ingested poison and was found dead.
Where are they getting this poison from?
I don't know. It was like a vending machine in the foyer or something. Poison.
Let's buy some poison, please.
That's what I was thinking. Is like, right,
if they're going there, they're not going there because it won't even be there by the time they get there.
That's a little bit like, right, my boy Murray, you all heard his voice a couple of episodes back when he told me he had a rotten brioche in his bed. Murray asks me to play Mario Kart with him all the time. And when I play Mario Kart with him, now he's autistic and he's a gamer, so he's pretty good. But there's the odd occasion where I get in the lead, and as soon as I get in the lead, he switches the PlayStation off, or the Nintendo, it would be even. He switches it off and he goes and does something else. And that's, in my opinion, the Americans were like, the Russians are going to get to the moon, let's blow it up so they can't. Have you ever seen the film Alive, the airplane one?
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, and they eventually find a suitcase and a guy finds a tube of toothpaste and just eats the whole tube of toothpaste because it's just near to food. It's like... Yeah,
that's not the worst bit of that film though, is it?
No. And yeah. They eat the guy's arse cheeks, don't they?
Yeah.
But if you were to eat a human, the bum cheek would be like the prime cut, wouldn't it? It's like the...
Would it not be all fatty?
Depends if you were quite
I'd go for
fit.
the heart.
Yeah, muscle. Yeah, the heart.
Straight
I
for the
don't-
heart.
Straight to the arse.
Did you ever see that? Sorry, that episode of Bottom where like the gas man comes round and then they think that
Yes.
they killed him, and so they're like, "Oh, we could eat him," and then they got the fork. And it was, where should we start? Like straight in the bollocks. Like,
Yeah, why not? Why not? I bet there's probably a lot of goodness in a pair of bollocks.
so the Olympic was like also like a passenger cruise liner type thing where people
Yes, it was.
okay, so it wasn't like a battleship or anything.
No, it was exactly the same. A lot of the photographs you see of the Titanic are actually the Olympic.
Oh right, okay, so
Um,
that's why. Okay, right.
Yeah,
Right.
the Olympic was used like the Titanic for a few years, and then the war broke out, the 1914 to 1919, the Great War, the First World War, and the Olympic was stripped down to then be used during the war.
Got right. I see. So that's probably where I've got a bit confused. Yeah,
And it just remained a sort of cargo ship and stuff during that war. And
it's funny how you said that the 1914 to 1991 broke out, not like World War One.
yeah, I suppose they didn't know it was World War One then.
They didn't think there was going to be another one.
No, I know. But you didn't fly tip it if you've left it for someone to take. It's different to dumping it in someone's garden.
Yeah, I just like released it back into the wild.
Yeah. And he was generally quite successful until one act went wrong and he suffered a severe intestinal obstruction. And members of the crowd actually had to carry him to the hospital, where he was treated with powerful laxatives to try and flush through all the things he'd been eating.
Oh god, like a shopping trolley,
Yeah.
a hammer. Stuff.
Apparently, he made a full recovery, and the doctor that helped him to recover, he offered the doctor to demonstrate his act by eating his watch and chain and passing it through him.
In the hospital, though.
In the hospital,
Like,
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Watch what I can do.
The doctor's there going, "Have you not learned your lesson? Come on, you've just been in surgery." And I'm like, no.
Apparently, the doctor was unimpressed by this and warned him that if he did eat his watch, he would cut him open to recover it.
Jeez, I just got this vision of this doctor just like that, like stony faced.
Yeah.
What on earth are you doing?
Have you not, lads?
Yeah.
How was his bum? They always hear these
Probe.
alien stories. You always hear these alien stories about things going up their bum. I don't know why
Yeah.
they're
Anal probes.
so interested in probing anuses.
It's a bit like you.
Yeah, I've had a couple of probes off the doctors over the years.
Yeah. So I something I did dangerous this week is
Go on.
I went to see Dune 2. Have you seen that
all
yet?
right. No,
Is it
no.
June or June? So have you seen the first one?
No.
No, oh, right. Well, that's probably why you haven't seen it. It's brilliant. The first one's brilliant. The second one's even better. But the reason it was dangerous is because I went to go and see it in 4DX.
4DX, what's
Have you-
that? Go on.
So that's when the chairs kind of vibrate and move, and things get sprayed in your face and smoke
Oh,
going
right.
off everywhere. So it's
Wow.
kind of like the 4D, I suppose, is the kind of like experience that
Right.
it's not just the visuals. You get but the problem is with a film like Dune, right? You've
Mhm.
kind of, it's quite complicated. I think it is, and
Right.
you've kind of got to focus on what's happening because there's lots of different. It's quite political, I suppose, in a certain way.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to focus on this film, basically watch it whilst being on a roller coaster, and it's just like I'm getting like shaken around and like things are being sprayed in my face, and I need to watch it again because I don't really know what happened.
It's like the 3D craze when it came out at the cinema, and there were films that were like filmed for it, like Avatar, which was mind-blowing
Yeah.
3D. But I went to see the last Harry Potter, and I went to see it in 3D, and it just ruined it for me.
It's just
'cause it
like,
was
yeah,
all-
you just kind of like, oh, I need to see that properly. Like,
yeah, it was a bit blurry. I wear glasses anyway, so I could see the reflection on my glasses off the 3D glasses, and it was all just a bit shit, and I kind of regret doing that.
I know, yeah, I do, because I really enjoyed the film, the bits that I got. But
Yeah.
then I know that I now have to go back and watch it again, which I would have done anyway.
Mhm.
But because there's bits that I've missed because I was going through a bone rattling experience, quite literally.
Yeah.
So I took a beer in with me as well. So I had a can, and the can fits perfectly in like the kind of drinks holder thing. So I put my can in the drinks holder. I'm not on a detox anymore, by the way. I went to the toilet, came back, and my beer was flat. Because the chair was shaking all the piss out. Oh, man. A plate against your front door, it's going to be pretty loud, that.
It is, yeah.
Isn't it?
But a few years ago, I got a new front door. It cost me 900 quid.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
If my neighbour started chucking our plates at it, I'd be pissed off.
Chucking back at his head.
Yeah. When I was quite young, when I was 6, 7, first time my parents ever took me to America, it was New Year's Eve. We were in Tampa Bay, and I'd been really ill with a bit of food poisoning. And we went to see a proper big American magic show. And I was actually picked out of the crowd to go up on stage with a magician.
Only you.
Well, yeah, so this magician, I was 6 or 7 years old, put me on his shoulders, and halfway to the stage, I diarrheaed myself. So I never actually made it.
Diarrheaed yourself.
Diarrheaed myself on the magician's back. He had to change his coat.
Oh, no. Well, seriously, right.
So that's
What was the trick? What was he trying to do?
I don't know. I never made it. I never got to stage. I had to go to the toilets and get changed.
Right. So how do they know it's massive?
I think at some stage they did uncover a load of it because they tried to get rid of it because it was in the way of the field. They dug down and down and down.
In the way of the field?
Yeah. They were like... I'll get to that. They were like, this stone's massive, just fucking leave it. The family left Leicester soon after, but the same house was then occupied by the boy's grandparents.
Right.
A month later, the Leicester Mercury proclaimed, "Humberstone ghost tried to choke me." The grandmother of the unnamed boy said, "I was roughly awakened, feeling that my life was being choked out of my body." The house in question was close to the Humberstone.
Oh, fuck off. A man coughed and sneezed at the same time, causing his colon to fall out of his body whilst having breakfast at a US diner.
It's not funny, but it is.
So the 63-year-old...
Oh, come on.
The 63-year-old who was with his wife in a Florida restaurant felt a wet sensation and followed by a sharp pain.
Shit.
He lifted up his shirt and spotted several inches of his colon pointing out of a surgical wound. Most flies, or flies that do this, that they'll attack sort of open wounds. So, if there's a gash or whatever, that they'll sort of land on that and lay, and then obviously the maggots will hatch, or the larvae will hatch and eat the dead flesh off the animal.
Oh dear, last thing you want's a fly landing in your gash.
Exactly. Come on now. Come on, behave yourself.
Maiwa's decided that the best thing to do would be to try and cook it. So he fried it in a pan with some garlic and herbs.
They tried to eat it without cooking it in the
just
first of all.
Yeah, just a bit of raw knob, like a little chipolata.
Raw knob. Right. Okay. And then they thought, we can't get through this. It's too tough. Like, what happens if we cook it?
Yeah. So they basically, sautéed it with some, garlic and herbs and stuff. But he left it in the pan too long and burnt it so much.
Oh no,
that
ruined.
I know it couldn't be consumed. I mean, you only have one knob. I mean, imagine burning the one knob that you've got and wasting it.
Yeah, like shit.
In the middle of the scrum, life becomes a heaving, steaming, beer-sweating fog of rip-crushing violence. All around you...
Carry on, it's fine. Carry on.
Give me a second to breathe.
A beer sweating. Okay, start again. Yeah, go on. Start again.
No, it's too good. In the middle of the scrum, in the middle of the scrum, life becomes a heaving, steaming, beer-sweating fog of rip-crushing violence. All around you, hundreds of grappling blokes push and pull, surge and shove. It's the battle of the bastards, but with a ball hidden somewhere within. If you're small, and even if you're not, the sheer force of the squeeze can lift you from your feet. Seasoned players talk of seeing stars, an actual condition caused by lack of oxygen when trapped for too long.
Wow. That's incredible. Oh, is there? Sorry.
Oh, there's more, yeah.
Go on.
From the outside, this vast, brawling, barreling mass of beards, bald spots, tattoos, and top knots looks vaguely comical as it careens one way, then another. But this is a game... this is a game where spectators who get too close get swept into the middle of the snarling, savage beast. Which is why one moment I'm making observations in my notebook, a bit homoerotic, and the next I'm on...
See, I said that. I've not even been. I told you.
It's true.
Right.
So we a bit homoerotic, and the next I've unwittingly gone gonzo, and I'm right in the middle of the fucker. My breath and notebook gone, my face in an armpit, my worldview suddenly narrowed to nothing more than fists and feet in fury. Oh, and a bloke behind me shouting sage words of advice into my ear. Start pushing forward, you soft bastard, or I'll do you myself. Blimey. Righto, chap.
And I'm not going to go down the scientific route because we all know that I can't read very well and I can't say scientific names. But basically, the way that they're categorized is the European type, the African type, the American type, and the Asian type.
That's incredible because I always just think a badger is like a staple kind of British animal.
The
British badger. I didn't honestly think they were worldwide. I thought maybe, France and a bit of Europe, and I didn't think they were worldwide badgers.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're a pretty successful species, to be honest. I mean, the only place they don't really reside is South America and Australia. But I mean, to be fair, they've got their own problems over there, haven't they? They've got some crazy animals in those parts.
Yeah, it's mental.
So apart from that, it's pretty much everywhere else. I mean, when scientists were first classifying badgers, there was another category that this other type of badger they were putting into, and it's called the stinky badger. Have you ever come across a stinky badger?
A stinky badger, is that? Oh dear God.
So, as we know, we've got farmers and shops today that specialise in cheese, and the people who produce that cheese are called cheesemongers.
Cheesemonger.
A cheesemonger, yeah. So, if you think about through history, it's different types of mongers. You've got ironmongers, the guys who'd make weapons for the armies and armour and all the rest of it. And then you've got fishmonger, who'd sail out to sea, collect all the fish and feed it to the villagers and all the rest of it. It's very highly regarded. I would have thought cheesemonger, fishmonger, ironmonger. You think of any other mongers?
think of a few, yeah.
Can you...
I'd love to know what the actual, definition of a monger is.